movie's bad. The most relatable thing in this movie is in the beginning when the guy's like, I have to film this for my YouTube channel, my fans will love it. And the girl's like, you only have 20 subscribers. Like, hashtag me. So I watched the Ouija experiment. I'm gonna say that wrong a bunch of times because I always want to say it phonetically. It's bad. It's A, based on a thing that's not really mystical or scary, and B, really bad. Nothing interesting happens until the last, 10 minutes. All of the characters are stereotypes and kind of racist. There's the big black guy who's a womanizer, who's cheating on his girlfriend, who's Asian and really dumb. Not dumb, really naive, I mean. The black girl who's sisters with the guy who's jumps every time anything even remotely jump scary happens, and I mean somebody gets up and she jumps, whatever. And then there's two white dudes who are both assholes. There's not a single character in this that you really like. They're all boring. They're all horribly written, badly acted. So the whole premise of the thing is they get a Ouija board, and one guy's recording. It's a found footage film on top of that, and I'm not a fan of found footage films. I think they're rarely good. They're usually gimmicky. And a big problem with that is you need an excuse for the camera to be on all the time, or for the camera to be seeing everything it's seeing. This guy was just filming things for his YouTube channel, which I guess I understand. It was bad. It was also I'm glad for this, but they showed a camera and it was a really shitty looking camera. It was not capturing the film that we were seeing. The video was an actual film quality, and I'm glad they didn't downgrade the video quality for the sake of accuracy to the camera. Actually, I'm glad for that. There wasn't too much shaky cam, so whatever. But the premise is they get a Ouija board, they go to their friend's house, and they're gonna mess around with it, and they're gonna tape it. And the guy says the rules. It's the main rule is you have to say goodbye before you leave the board. So of course that's the first thing they forget to do. And I will say one thing it does pretty well is introducing the ghost characters. We know very little about them until the end, where there's a huge information dump. But in the beginning they're introduced pretty naturally. We get to talk to each of them for a little bit, and you talk to the little girl Gracie first, and then the next day you talk to the mother Lisa, and they're like, oh, can we talk to Gracie? And Lucy's like, what, not me? Which fits later for what we see. We talk to Joe a very little bit, which fits his character also, which is also poorly written, but he's only on screen for a couple of minutes, so whatever. Those are all pretty good. The big plot twist is that it feels like it's a battered mother and son that were killed by the husband, and that's not what ends up happening. It's the mother completely loses it, drowns the kid, shoots Joe, who is a neighbor who likes to play with the little girl, shoots him and then kills herself. And it's cool that they introduce it this way, where we don't know that and we can't figure that out, and people start getting killed, characters start getting killed before we figure out that it's not Joe, it's really Lisa who's doing it. But the information we get on everything is in a flashback, where they're just okay, here's what actually happened, instead of having the characters find it out, which usually the characters finding out is really annoying also, and the flashback was actually... I'm kind of glad they did the flashback instead of keeping up the found footage stuff, because I don't like found footage, but it wasn't well written. Those characters were racist stereotypes and poorly written also, and badly acted. The child actor was painful, but she's a child actor, so whatever. The board growls a lot. I think it's because they want us to assume it's a masculine entity, so they have the growls there. They're low and sound like a male voice, but why is she growling? She's a ghost, not a lion. Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah, the last 10 minutes are the only thing where anything interesting happens, which is when they go back to the house and they have the board and they figure out about Lisa, so she's killing everyone. There's also a weird thing where one of the guys figures out that they all died on his and the other girl's birthday, and I don't know why that would be relevant at all. And they also died in the house that they were in, which, okay, I understand. Oh, they were in this house. That's what they should have been focusing on as the big information twist, not, oh, they died on our birthdays. I don't know a lot of mythology surrounding ghosts and stuff like that, but I don't think that's usually indicative of anything. Yeah, so the last 10 minutes they're running around trying to find it. They hear the sound of their friend. They go upstairs and Lisa cuts the guy's throat and he falls down the stairs, and then the other two are like, let's burn the board, that'll get rid of her. They have no evidence to suggest that burning the board will get rid of her. They never discuss beforehand that the burning the board will get rid of her. It's an idea out of nowhere that they immediately jump on thinking it'll work. Especially since they're being attacked, like, yeah, one of the kids dies again. Like, so the first guy dies, it's the guy with the camera in the beginning, he dies. And then it's the black girl and the other white guy. Because the black guy dies first, obviously, because it's a horror movie. I don't remember what happens to the Asian girl. I'm sure she dies off camera also. But the white guy and the black girl are left, and the white guy's fighting the demon ghost, whatever, and the girl throws him to the fire. And there's a really cool scene, actually, where they show Lisa, like, reaching for the board and being burned up with the board. But there's no evidence to suggest that that's what would happen. They don't talk about it at all, and then the whole reason for it being a found footage film was for the image at the end, which was okay, but, like, not worth suffering through a found footage film for, where the guy who films picks up the camera, and he's like, oh, what's going on? And he goes outside and he sees the black girl crying over the other white guy who's dead. And he's like, what's going on? And then he sees the ghost of Joseph and Gracie, and they're like beckoning, follow us, and they go into the bathroom, and he turns to the mirror, and it's just the camera. And that's how the movie ends. It's really bad. It's an hour and a half long, and it's boring for an hour and 20 minutes of that. And even the ending isn't worth it. You know, I usually say the ending can make or break a movie for me, but for this, it's not worth it. It's really bad. Next week, there's a sequel, so next week I'm going to do the sequel. Like, subscribe, comment, please. If there's movies you think I should do, comment. If you know more about the Ouija board than I do and you want to tell me about it, leave that in the comments. If you know these characters has names and are yelling at me for not being able to remember them, I just saw the movie and I already forgot all of it, so there you go. Bye. Oh, not gonna lie, I almost didn't do today so that I could go outside and play Pokemon Go. But I'm dedicated.